Howdy folks, I'm Brian,
I'm Amber.
and here's some Reddit. Our first letter is titled, Am I a jerk for humiliating my aunt in front of my family after she assumed that albinism is an STI? And this does have a content warning of homophobia. I'm a 21-year-old male and I was invited to a family gathering yesterday to which I brought my boyfriend, a 22-year-old male of around 8 months. Some of my family members are still low-key homophobic and this includes my aunt, a 42-year-old female from my mother's side. She only knew that I'm gay and hasn't met my boyfriend until now, but when she saw him, she quickly grabbed me and took me into the corner to talk in private. There, she asked why I would bring such an unholy, lifeless looking person here, and that she's afraid he might be possessed and intending to harm our family. I told her that my boyfriend isn't possessed and that he only looks like this because he has albinism. Then she asked me, oh, is that like an STI for gay guys? I won't lie, I got pretty annoyed at how she was formulating that question, but I still explained to her what albinism is, aka a genetic disorder where a person has less melanin than usual in their body, which makes them have white hair and very pale skin, like my boyfriend. I explained to her that people are born with the disease and it's not contagious and it's not an STI. She seemed to understand, so I decided to drop the subject. Well, however, at dinner, she suggested in front of the entire family, no less, that we should join her in church in order to wash our sins and try to get on the right path. And then she turned to my boyfriend and said, however, I'm afraid that not even our church can cure your unholy STI. My boyfriend looked embarrassed and also confused. And I just snapped and told her, I already told you albinism is an STI, and maybe you would have known that if just once in your life you had opened a book other than the Bible. Some of my family members started snickering, which made my aunt cry and quickly run away from the dinner table, with my uncle following after her. Me and my boyfriend got up and were on our way out as we didn't want to be part of this circus any longer. But my mom stopped me and said that my comment was really out of line. I pointed out that my aunt's homophobic behavior started all this, and while my mom said that while she was definitely in the wrong as well, my comment only insulted her, but also insulted the religion, and that we both owe each other an apology. I wasn't in the mood to have another conversation with her, so I just decided to leave. My boyfriend obviously isn't very keen to go over to my family gatherings, especially because now he's afraid that my family will keep assuming that he has an STI. I'm still very mad with my aunt and I don't even want to speak with her, much less apologize with her. But I know my mom and her are really close and she would be upset if we don't end up making amends with each other. Am I the jerk? Should I just get over it and apologize to my aunt and hope that she'll do it as well? Alright folks, what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk.
OP, I don't think that you're the jerk in this situation. I don't even think you said anything that was overly bad either. I think that she was really out of line. I really do. I'm curious what everyone else has to say. If you think that OP was over the line here, if they said this was just too harsh, but I'm inclined to say that I don't think that they were. So I would be curious about what everyone else has to say. So yeah, I mean, just lay low for a little while and let things calm down, and maybe your aunt will come and apologize to you. I don't think you did anything wrong here. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Not the jerk. Bigoted people don't get a pass for their poor behavior. They should be called out. Your aunt brought this on herself. Let her stew. OP needs to tell his mom to stay in her lane instead of enabling the aunt's behavior. This, and OP, you already told her privately that she was wrong. What did your mom expect you to say? This woman got what was coming to her. She got what she deserved. Well done to you. People like OP's aunt can dish it out, but they can't take it. She's a Bible thumper that abuses her religion in order to oppress others. In actuality, she disrespected her own religion. Tell your mom, OP, that your aunt passed judgment. God then used your body as a vessel to smite her with her words. If she pesters you about this, follow up by asking her, does she question the word of God? Lol, not the jerk. I wouldn't necessarily condone that, but I mean, different folks have different ways of handling problems, I guess. Our next letter is titled, Am I a jerk for refusing to help my parents even if they'll end up homeless with serious medical conditions? I'm a 28-year-old female and I was raised by a super religious parents. It was a fight to be able to go to a normal college and not a Christian one with weird rules. When I did that, they said they will not be paying for my schooling until I come back to the right path. After struggling for a couple of months, a friend told me that the strip club that she was working at was hiring. I have been dancing my whole life and I have a good figure, so I was hired pretty fast. A few months in, I dropped out of college because I was making serious money, about $3,000 for a bad week and up to $11,000 for a really good one. When my parents found out, they disowned me. The same goes for all of my extended family except 2 cousins. Well, fast forward 9 years and I own my house outright. I have a Tesla, I don't have any debt. I also own an apartment building that I rent. Stripping has a short lifespan and investments. Now, my parents contacted me. Apparently, my father lost his business during COVID. My mom has always been a stay-at-home mom, and they declared bankruptcy and are really struggling. They live in an old camper. Also, apparently, my mom is diabetic now, and my dad has had some heart problems. They wanted my help. I said no. I don't have parents anymore. And furthermore, according to the religion and church, my money was earned while sinning, so to use it would be condemning their souls. And I really don't want that for them. My mom started crying, and my dad said that they didn't know where they went wrong with me. Well, maybe you should look inwardly first before saying that to somebody. That was the last I heard from them. A couple of aunts and uncles called, but they changed their family helps family tune very fast when I asked why they weren't helping them themselves. But now a couple of weeks later, and I'm starting to feel like I was a jerk to them, because a month's income from stripping would make a really big change for them, but I won't even miss it that bad, so am I the jerk? Alright folks, what do you think, jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk.
I think that, OP, your family disowned you, and they don't get to undisown you, and especially not when they suddenly need financial aid. I think that this was really crummy for them to do and even to suggest. They literally disowned you, OP. You were without a family. You haven't seen them. You haven't been in contact with them for 9 years. I think that at that point in time, if they really wanted to mend the fence, they should have done so a long time ago, before they started having health problems and before they started, losing their jobs and stuff like that. But, when it comes to this situation, it looks awfully suspicious that they're coming to you when they need money, right? And I have a feeling that after they get back on their feet or whatever, it'll go right back to you being a sinner and, doing bad things. So I really have a hard time faulting for you for this situation. It doesn't really seem like they want you anything beyond your money. So yeah, it's a sad situation. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Hi, former conservative Christian homeschooled child turned to pagan lesbian witch here. I don't talk to my parents, but I wasn't smart enough to get into the stripping while I was young enough for it to be profitable. You have absolutely no obligation to help them if you don't want to, but if it's going to gnaw at you to not help them, and it's going to be a hardship to help them, consider this. Under their belief system, you are now evil, sinning child who is making money in a terrible way, and your refusal to help them only confirms their opinion of you, which is fine. It doesn't really matter what they think. But if you still feel bad and also want to mess with their heads, help them and ask them to reconcile the fact that you are a fallen one, but you had more compassion for them in their time of need than they, a God-fearing saint, had for you in yours. Or don't, but feel good about it. Either way, don't deserve you guilting yourself over them. Not the jerk, obviously. I think that this is really an unfortunate situation in a lot of ways. There are certainly people who use and abuse religion, of all different forms of religion here. And it's really sad that OP, who was in a time of need, wasn't helped by people who were supposed to be there and supportive and helping them. So I think that OP certainly doesn't have a obligation to help, but I don't think that this person has a bad point either. I mean, heaping burning coals over their head is kind of like what the Bible says about compassion, right? Be compassionate and it'll heap coals over the heads of your enemies. So, turn the other cheek. There are principles in the Bible that, can certainly be applied here. Right answer here, Your answer is awesome. OP could also go by her own logic and tell and congratulate her parents on their trip to the underworld by accepting the money. And then quote, "Hi, former conservative Christian homeschooled child turned pagan lesbian witch here. I need a TV, podcast, or YouTube show that methodically opens with this line. Thank you for this." So, folks, what do you think? Should I be changing my introduction? I don't think we'll be going that route. We'll let someone else have that one. All right, folks, it is tea time. Grab your beverages of choice. I have some tea. Amber has some tea. Let me know what beverages you have. Everyone has been having beverages that sound tasty lately, ranging from coffee to Diet Coke to all kinds of sorts of things, the Golden Eagles. So let me know what kind of beverage you're having today.
Mint tea.
Amber is having, unsurprisingly, mega mint tea. So, and I also have a joke here from June. So June sent in a joke this morning, and I thought it was pretty funny. So I'll tell it to you folks here. What is the only word that has all the letters in it? The alphabet. So hopefully, it's a very silly joke. I'm sure we could pick it out of this silly joke book myself. So yeah, let me know if you have any silly jokes you want me to tell, and I'll happily tell the jokes for you. So and I do have my tea here, and it is licorice spice. All right, our next letter is titled, "Am I a jerk for forcing my parents to disown my gay brother?" And there is a content warning of homophobia in this one. There's a lot of parents disowning children in this episode, and I feel really bad about it, but this was kind of the lottery we got today. Context needed, obviously. I'm a 28-year-old female and hate my brother, a 30-year-old male. He was always the golden child. I was the oops baby they never wanted, a girl, plus I was a fussy baby compared to him, so I annoyed my mother. He hated me too and kept telling lies about me to my parents. If he stole something, he would blame me, and they believed him. He sabotaged all of my relationships, he bullied me, he forced my friends against me. My parents always took his side. I left home for college and I managed to get a scholarship. As soon as I could, he stayed in my hometown, renting a place near my parents, paid for by them of course. They stopped contacting me. Our family group chat was always about brother and his achievements, and they never sent me money. I live in another state now, I'm married, my family was invited, but they didn't bother showing up for my wedding. And with a second baby on the way, my husband's family is great, so that's helping me out a lot. Anyways, my parents are very traditional. Male, head of the family, tradition, all of this nonsense. So my brother coming out shocked them. They absolutely demanded blood-related descendants to carry the family name. I should mention that I and my kids all have my husband's surname. Adoption is not an option, neither is the surrogating. They only accept a proper marriage. So out of the blue, my brother contacted me. Apparently, my parents will disown him. He lives off their money and has never worked unless he fixes the relationship with me so that they can lay claim to my children. That's a tall order, since he is the cause of why I drifted away from my family. He isn't the sole cause. I blame my parents. He actually flew to my state, cried a lot, blamed all the bullying on his stress from being in the closet, yada yada yada. I told him off. My family is dead to me and I don't care about him. He is now saying that I'm petty, willing to ruin an adult's life over a childhood slight. Also, that I'm homophobic, etc. But I refuse to be back in contact with my parents as a backup source of blood-related grandbabies now that their golden child has failed them. Am I the jerk? Also, I forgot to add, my parents also want my future baby, I'm pregnant, to carry the family surname. All right, folks. What do you think? Jerk or not the jerk?
Not the jerk.
I would have a really hard time faulting OP in this situation. OP, it doesn't sound like you're homophobic. It sounds like your brother was just using this as an excuse. It would be like someone who's, gay, robbing a bank, and then when the police try arresting them, being like, "Oh no, you can't arrest me. This is being homophobic." It's no one's.
You haven't adage, be gay, do crimes.
Be gay, do crimes. We don't mean that. We don't mean that when we say that. Be gay, do crimes, rob a bank. So, yeah, this is not a normal situation. This is not OP, hating on their brother because of their sexual orientation. This is him trying to throw every stop in the way in order to make OP take pity on him, right? This is him trying to guilt OP here. So, OP, I'm glad this isn't working on you, and I'm really sorry that your brother has now been reintroduced into your life and has given you this much more stress, especially while you're pregnant on top of that. You don't need this kind of stress when you're pregnant. So, I'm really sorry, and I'm sorry that your parents are bad people, and homophobic people too, and that they can't accept and love your own brother who they treated like a king for his entire life when he didn't match their lifestyle expectations or whatever. So that's really the tragedy on top of everything else. So yeah, I'm really sorry, OP. I'm really sorry. Anyhow, take care and good luck. Queer here, not the jerk. Your brother is a jerk in so many ways, but his homophobia claim is one that I want to highlight. If you told him to go away because he's gay, then yes, that would make you homophobic. That's not what you said, though. You told him to go away because he treated you terribly and didn't see any reason to be in your life until he needed something. That something being you and your family having contact with your wildly toxic parents. Frankly, I don't care if it was really the stress of being closeted that had him acting that way, which I don't buy at all. That doesn't justify anything. If he calls you homophobic for not accepting his non-apology again, laugh in his face as you shut the door on him. You don't owe him, nor your parents, a thing. Do what you need to make sure they stay away from you. Enjoy the beautiful family you've made away from them. I don't think I could have said that better. Alright folks, that's all the time we have for today. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, consider giving me a like, and if you didn't, consider giving me a dislike. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow.
Bye.
OP needs to tell his mom to stay in her That's going in the blooper reel.